Okay, here it goes. I feel called to upload a video today again, and I have so much to say, but it's not very well organized. And so I just have to start. I tried to write down a few things that I don't want to neglect to include, but I'm not sure what all is going to come up. One thing that I do want to discuss is why do I call my channel Student of Truth? The initial answer is so that I can upload. If I didn't identify as a student, I would not be able to upload because I insist to myself that I have to have everything well supported, well documented, perfectly worked out with logic before I could ever share it. Because what if I share some bullshit? This way, well, what I am is not an authority on anything here. I'm just a student, and I'm sharing what I'm learning. And I hope, I'm sort of an understated person. I'm kind of an introvert. And so the excitement that I feel for, and the passion that I feel for what I am studying might not necessarily come through in my videos, but it's there. So, what are some of these things that I'm learning right now? I am learning a ton. I've got my ongoing work on my theory, which took me through space-time algebra in the last several months, and now has me in general relativity and studying the energy momentum tensor. And then there is geometry in the form of the Marian matrix. As I read about that, I understand maybe about 30 to 40% of what's being presented, which is, I think, pretty good. But what I am enjoying about that study is the other ideas that it stimulates, these other ideas which I feel are coming to me as downloads from my spirit guides. So, right now, I am receiving so much information because, well, I'm seeking it out, but also because I've joined an online community where we discuss all these different things. And so, information is just coming at me in large quantities. And what it reminded me of is something I learned 30 years ago when I first read this book, which was pivotal in my life, and so much content from Gödel Escher Bach shapes how I live my life. especially now. There is a story in that book about Zen students, and the Zen master came up to them while they were meditating and said, if you say a word, he pulled out his sword and he said, if you say a word, I will cut off your heads. If you do not say a word, I will cut off your heads. And they said, moo. And he put his sword back in the sheath, walked away, and they went on meditating. Now, how I interpret that is basically the way to be in terms of getting overstimulated, with information or with emotions, with interactions with others, with chaotic times in life. When you are receiving a lot of advice from a lot of different directions, and some of it's conflicting, and you're having trouble making sense of everything, you just kind of stop and you just shake your head a little bit. My dog does that when he's overstimulated. He goes, brrr, and you say, moo. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right now. And I can certainly get overstimulated. I mean, I've got some neurodivergence, right? I mean, you've probably noticed that if I'm not conscious of it, I'm going to start rocking like this. And I always sit in the rocking chair. Always. I'm not comfortable sitting still. And it has been that way. My parents tell me that even when I was in the crib, I would be on my hands and knees rocking, right? And self-soothing, I don't know what you call it, but I'm just more comfortable that way. So maybe, I'll let myself do that a little bit here on this video. There are many other things that tell me that I have a certain neurodivergence, and I've never been diagnosed with any particular syndrome, and I guess the reason for that is that most of my life I've been pretty functional and have been able to, work for the man, make the man rich, do my thing, pay my taxes, obey the law, whatever, and so nobody's felt a need to do a big evaluation on me. Although, actually, that's not true. That's not true. I have been evaluated, but it has been in the setting of addiction. And addiction was my dark night of the soul. I've had the tendency towards it all along. And it cropped up in me once I had become completely separated from Source. well, completely separated, maybe not, but I felt like I was completely separate from Source. And I became disillusioned with what I thought was supposed to be this wonderful life once I finished medical school and began to practice medicine. I believed that everything was going to be cool, except for maybe a few annoyances here and there. Well, yeah, I reached a point where I had gotten married. I had a baby. I had purchased a home, a lovely dog, and we had hired someone to walk the dog because one time a day that we could do wasn't enough. Well, this guy came over to walk the dog, and there I was sitting in my chair with a fire in the fireplace, baby in my lap, dog at my side. My wife at the time was making the meal, and this guy said, "Wow, man, you've got it all. You're a doctor, and you've got all this stuff." Oh, that was so not the case. So not the case. I had gotten married for the wrong reason. Really, I had gone into my career for the wrong reason. You know, looking back, I would have gone into mathematical physics, but at the time I was intimidated by the mathematics. So I went into medicine instead, and I went into medicine partly because I didn't have a very good sense of my identity. I did not have much in the way of self-esteem. And so I knew I was good at science, so I chose to go into medicine because I felt that I would receive validation from society. And I did. But it didn't help. So, even though I had all the material things and received validation, I was empty. I was miserable. I manifested a marriage that was miserable. And, well, that marriage ended, and that was ugly. And it was quite the relief to get free from it. But that's when I became critically ill. I was sad to have been dead, but I can't say I had a near-death experience. I can't claim that. But I came out of that actively addicted. And how that manifested was that I felt that life was futile. That it's just a bunch of misery until you die. So why not temper the misery a little bit with mood and mind-altering substances? Which would give me a false sense of well-being. It felt like I had high vibration, even though it was really, dropping my frequency, my vibrations. So my first go around with spiritual awakening was getting into recovery, getting through the misery of withdrawals and detox, and then joining recovery groups, the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, a spiritual program, reading a book called Came to Believe, which was about various AA members' experience with a power greater than ourselves. Very diverse, and it taught me that not necessary to believe spiritually in the same way as everybody else. That helped. But then came my final end boss. Thank you, Antonia, for the term. Which was my desire, desperation really, for a romantic relationship. And when on the internet dating sites, potential dates found out that I was an alcoholic in recovery, even in recovery, right? Then I would get ghosted. So I quit disclosing that and would go on these dates and would drink. And none of them worked out. I didn't end up with any success relationship-wise, but I had relapsed. Another 4 years of dark night of the soul, and then 10 years ago, I entered recovery for real, because I'm still there. And that was the next level of my spiritual awakening. And, I'm not going to tell the whole story of it here. I mean, the last 10 years have been much better. Really, it's the last year and a half that this current journey has been progressing. And it is only accelerating. There have been a number of catalysts that have exponentially increased my progress in spiritual awakening, the most recent of which was joining the collective that I've joined. I had other things that I was going to talk about here, but that's probably good for now. I mean, ideas to come. I'd like to discuss some other things that I learned from this book. And one of them I was discussing on the forum today with the Telegram group I'm in. But there's so many others. And I, of course, intend to keep going with discussions of the Marian matrix and mathematical physics, but I thought it was time to open up a little bit again. It's really been a few months since I've been open on my channel, and I kind of pulled back. I contracted in early October when there was some online nastiness that really, ooh, made me put up a wall. Yeah. Yeah. And, the collective I've joined, I've been in it only a few days here, but I'm already getting the sense that it is pretty safe. And that, so far I have not seen any online nastiness on there. I suspect that well, we'll just take it as it comes. We'll just see. But so far, I'm quite encouraged. And so I will leave it there for now. Please, if you like this video, please hit like. Give me a subscription if you haven't yet. And I will see you soon. Bye.